Call to the booth. We got a Super Bowl 55 champion. Congrats, Tom Brady, man. He's the damn GOAT. If you bet against Tom Brady, we ain't going to talk about that yet, man. But we going to talk quarterbacks for next year. Of course, we talking Super Bowl. Paul, drop that beat. Call to the booth. We got a Super Bowl 55 champ. His name is Tom Brady, man, and the Bucs defense. We can't leave out that Bucs defense, man. While we showing love on this show, we cannot leave out that Bucs defense not one time, man, because they did the damn thing, man. I love that, Harrison. I love when we see defenses come out and ball, man. So when they could really stamp that, defense win championships. Stamp that. I love it.
Yeah, I love watching the defensive performance from yesterday as well, or Sunday, rather yet, in that Super Bowl performance. And, you know, it was interesting. Obviously, Tom Brady won the MVP, but it almost felt like the MVP was from the defensive side of the ball. It's just they all balled out. You couldn't really pick one.
It was spread out.
So it's like you almost had to go to Brady for the MVP vote.
Yeah, but all in all, man, how Tom had the vibe of the team. And he did his thing on offense. He barely made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Just how he controlled the clock, everything, man. You got to give it to Tom. He for sure was the MVP. So by the middle of the third, Tom was already my MVP vote, man. So I would have gave it to him.
The job that Todd Bowles did against Patrick Mahomes was great. And I think you and we talked about the game, and I know you talked about the game even outside of the show. It felt as if we almost forgot to mention the offensive line issues even more than we did.
Yeah.
Because Todd Bowles really queued up a lot of defensive plays there that really helped out.
Exactly. And it was like where the pressure was coming from was right where the injuries was at. So, man, I downplayed it. I definitely downplayed them two left tackles being out. And, I thought it's Andy Reid, man. He going to find a way. He going to find some way to, slow down that rush. But he never slowed down that rush, man. It was like every play Mahomes was retreating, he was scrambling, moving around, and they never found an answer for that. And they got that pressure without blitzing, man. They did it. They was blitzing four guys. I mean, they rushed four guys. Sue, Pierre-Paul, Shaq, and whoever else was in there. They rushed them three guys, and them three guys got pressure all day, man. And that was, if I can guess how this game is gonna go, the last thing I would have said is the Bucs gonna get pressure with four people. Even with the hurt tackles, I just thought Andy Reid was going to have an answer for that. You know what I'm saying? And he never really had an answer for it.
Were there any special defensive plays or any special defensive assignments that you saw that Todd Bowles' unit really performed well? I know one play that was highlighted when they blitzed both cornerbacks and put everybody back in coverage. Can you give me some nuggets from what you saw that really caught your attention?
I mean, with that play, you see that play, that's like a zone blitz. You had three deep and three under. They didn't even zone blitz that much. You know what I'm saying? So, and even on that, he juked the corner and a ball hit Tyreek in both hands. So that almost should have been a touchdown. So that's probably why they stayed away from it a little bit. But I didn't see nothing super special, man. They played cover 4. They played 2-man, and they ain't do nothing that special. They backed up their safeties about a little 5 yards deeper than they would regularly be in cover 4. They backed up their underneath defense about 4 yards deeper than they would usually be. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of really kept everything in front of them. But usually Mahomes don't got no problem with that. Usually he just dink and dunk. All right, y'all want to give me this? We'll run our little reverses. We'll run our short passes. And he usually have an answer for that, but, man, it was like he ain't had no answer for it. They tackled super good on defense, so when that ball was thrown in front of them, they tackled. They was able to keep 2 high safeties basically the whole game and still stop the run. I figured they'd do that, you know what I'm saying, with the best run D in the league, but, man, that defense, it was the difference in the game, in my opinion, was just the confidence and the aggression that Tampa D played with. They played faster. They played more physical than Kansas City the whole time on offense and defense. They just was the faster, more physical team. And that confidence, man, that confidence that Brady bring to that locker room was on the all-time high, bro. That team was not going to lose. I seen Shaq come with the red, black, white, crazy looking suit. He had a grill in his mouth. I said, oh, shit. That confidence was just on another level, bro. It's hard to beat a team like that, man. You can take the best offense in the world. You put them against a flying around, super fast, confident defense, that defense going to win every time, man. So that Bucs, that defense showed up ready to go, and them boys took over the game.
One thing that there's some commentary after the game, some people were saying, I bet some of these teams wish they were able to interview Todd Bowles again, or if there were head coaching jobs still open, maybe he would be a stronger candidate.
Yeah.
And I know there's actually been some reporting that there had been some thought maybe the head coaching interview process doesn't end until after the Super Bowl, giving the coordinators a better chance to really focus in on the interviews, the guys who make it longer in the postseason. Because Todd Bowles, from what he did in that performance and what he did throughout the entirety of the playoffs, taking out Aaron Rodgers in the NFC Championship game, winning the divisional round, which was against
Breeze.
And taking out Drew Brees. I mean, that's taking down 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Mahomes not in the Hall of Fame, but
he will be.
More than likely will be. So I think it was obviously a very important performance and great performance from them. From the offensive side of the ball, though, what did you see the Chiefs do? There's a lot of talk about the penalties.
Yeah.
Not a great day for a lot of guys in the secondary. What did you see from the Chiefs' defense?
Oh, from the Chiefs' defense or from the Chiefs how they was on offense?
Oh, yeah. We'll move over to the Chiefs' defense now and how they were.
Well, the Chiefs' defense, they couldn't stop the run. It seemed like every drive where the Bucs went down and got points, they ran the ball well on them drives too. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't stop. They didn't stop the Bucs from running the ball, man. I feel like that same momentum, that same aggression, you could see it on that O-line versus that D-line, man. They was mauling that D-line. And the Chiefs got a few pressures early, but Tom really didn't have any pressure on them all day. And they mauled them out in the run game, man. And that opened up play action passes. That opened up screens for them, man. So it was like a perfect day on offense for the Bucs, man. Everything that they called, the way that they wanted to play the game, it played out perfectly for them, man. So they ain't have to do. They just ran their offense, man. They ran the ball. They threw some screens in there, and then they ain't even take too many shots. Usually they take a bunch of shots. They ain't have to take too many shots because they was hitting guys like 8-10 yards, and they was able to catch them. Gronk was able to catch it and run a couple times, man. So AB was able to catch it and run a couple times. So they didn't have to do nothing out of the ordinary, man. It was just hitting everything that they called. They was just hitting it. So it was simple to me. They stayed to their game plan, but that run game was really the difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in our last episode. The run game was kind of underrated for both of these teams, or the importance of it to winning was almost underrated for sure. And it felt as if the running game was a lot easier for the Bucs to implement because of how that first half ended. From Tyrann Mathieu' interception being called back to the pass interference on Breeland, on the Mike Evans fade. I guess it was a fade route that ended up getting Gronk his second touchdown in the end zone. Those are critical penalties. Critical penalties that gave the Bucs the ability to feel more comfortable running the ball and controlling the clock.
Right.
Have you been? I'm sure you've played in a multitude of games. How difficult is it when you're starting to feel as if the referees won't let you play, won't let you be physical as a DB?
That's frustrating, man. But you just got to keep playing. You can't really worry about it. And I think they did that. I think second half, they ain't had too many penalties. They had maybe 2 or 3 penalties in the second half. But you just got to keep playing. You can't argue with the refs. There's nothing you can do about it. So you just got to keep playing. But I do think those penalties was timely, man. Those penalties definitely didn't cost them the game because the Bucs was just too aggressive for the Chiefs' ass anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the timing of those penalties and the result of those penalties, man, that definitely played a part in shifting that momentum. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a momentum game, and you want to catch that momentum any way you can. So, all them penalties did was make Tampa keep the momentum. They came out with the momentum, with the aggression, And when you got penalties, when they got an interception and, that shit got called back, that just shifts the momentum in your favor again. And the same thing with the deep ball. I didn't think neither one of those was penalties, man. You look at Mike, he running a 5-yard hitch. Anybody who know Mike, if he run a 5-yard hitch, he's going to throw the DB by every time. The DB put his arm out, he stopped himself, turned to an interception, and they end up calling that little flag. And then the other one, Breland fell down, he hit his foot. It's not like he reached out and clipped his foot or nothing. He just fell down and hit his foot on mistake. And they called it, man. And them two penalties right there was huge. But I don't think they determined the game at all, man. But if the Chiefs could have caught the momentum early right there, like, you know what I'm saying, when Tyron got the interception or right at the end of the half, if they would have been able to stop them from getting points, came out, it might just shift the momentum a little bit. So whatever, man. It happened. You gotta be able to shake back from that. And they had plenty of chances to shake back from that, but they ain't do it.
Plenty chances. I thought the game could have shifted when they got that 4th and goal stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seemed as if they could have shifted the momentum again when they held the Bucs to the field goal. But then I believe it was Hardman or another player on the roster was lined up in the neutral zone on that field goal attempt. Critical plays that really changed things. And then they went into halftime, and nothing really changed too much on the side of the ball for the Chiefs.
Exactly.
Or at least in terms of when it comes to the final result.
And then another thing about the game though, the Chiefs, like all last year during this 23-1 run or whatever, they wideouts, they extra, they skill guys made plays, man. You see some great catches by Tyreek Hill and some great break tackles by Kelsey within that long run, but nobody really made no plays for Mahomes yesterday, man. He got the ball hit a receiver in his face, and literally in his face mask 3 times in the game. You know what I'm saying? 2 of them probably would have been touchdowns. So the Chiefs ain't make no plays, man. They ain't make no plays for their quarterback, man. So as much as he was scrambling trying to find something, when he did find a little inch, guys weren't able to capitalize. So that had a lot to do with it too.
As we look at it, it seems as if people are more cognizant of that it's not necessarily just Patrick Mahomes. It's a team sport.
Right.
Offensive line really wasn't there, as you pointed out. Wide receivers or the pass catchers rather yet really didn't make the plays that you would hope they would make in a big moment. Some of the commentary though coming out of this game is that now it seems impossible for Patrick Mahomes to catch Tom Brady as the GOAT, the greatest football player, or at least greatest football quarterback of all time. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree, man. It's gonna be hard. It was gonna be hard if he won the game. You know what I'm saying? So if you win this game, now you got to win 4 more, and now you tied with the GOAT. If you win 4 more, you tied, and I guess you got the head-to-head. But I mean, he beat you in the playoffs before and sent you home. But I guess you got the head-to-head. But now you got to win 6 of them. Like until you even put pressure on the GOAT, I can't even really have this conversation, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have some pressure on the GOAT first. Like, I'm at 4. You know what I'm saying? I'm at 4, and it looked like our whole team finna come back to get 5. Like, okay, now this is a conversation to be had. But, you know, I think people jumping the gun on the GOAT talk with Mahomes. And he don't get me wrong, he do look like the baby GOAT. He even had, the Magic even had me in the days and made me bet against Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? I was even lost in the Magic, and I bet it against the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? But that GOAT talk, man, it's tough. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see, but I doubt anybody ever catch Tom on them chips. You better hope he don't come win another one next year. So it's hard, man. That GOAT situation that's a tough jacket to wear, man.
According to, I think this the ESPN stats and info, it was the most pressured a quarterback has been in the Super Bowl. I think it was over 50% of his dropbacks were pressured. Now, with that being said, if you're a DB, or as you were analyzing the game, did you feel that there were things Mahomes could have done better? Specifically, Mahomes, could he have maybe implemented more drop-offs, maybe been more insistent on the running game, even though it was probably going to be hard because of how the Bucs are structured?
I don't think that's just Mahomes, though. I think collectively, Bieniemy, Andy, and Mahomes could all did some things different. Like you said, throw the ball quicker, get the ball out your hands. But I mean, they tried to though. That's the thing. They tried to. The Bucs tackled so good, bro. It seemed like they didn't even try it, but they did. They never got no yards after the catch on them short passes because the Bucs just tackled amazing. So man, I felt like about that 12 to 15 yard window right in the middle of the field. They could have threw the ball right there more. They could have tried to work that middle a little bit more, but even then, it take time to do that. So he never really had time to drop back in the pocket, let a guy run a dig or stop right in the middle and throw it. He ain't really had that time. He dropped back. Oh, I got to go. He started scrambling immediately. So once I scramble out the pocket, I can't really throw to the middle of the field no more. So I think the Bucs just did a hell of a job, man, creating pressures. The ends didn't just rush outside every time. Sometimes they looped them around. They came with the inside pressures, man. They did a great job switching up the routes for those 4D linemen, man. And they all met at the quarterback so many times. So, man, at the end of the day, it's stuff that we could say right now that he could have did better, but everything was on the clock. He ain't really had no time to do that stuff. I thought, me and my brother was talking, I'm like, they should have attacked the corners with them deep ball, put a high low them corners, super sell, a deep corner route and a short corner route. You make the cornerback pick one. But bro was like, shit, he ain't had no time to let them develop. And I'm like, yeah, you right. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could sit here and say what he could have did, but when you got them D linemen rushing you like that, man, it's hard.